and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos are. I just noticed I've worn this shirt like 3 times this week, and it's got a big bloody stain over here. Why do I keep wearing this shirt? I have no idea. Strange things that go through your head when you make a video. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment. We're on day 28. Well, actually, I'm on day 27. I'm recording this a day early because it's the Sabbath on day 28. Day 28 is a day which I'm not online. But I think it's important to put out one of these videos each day, because each day is another step, another stair in this journey that we're on, right? In this journey of growth, right? This journey of connecting to God. We're in a 50-day cycle. It's was it 7 weeks? 7 weeks long. And we are studying 6 constant commandments. The first 3 were really somewhat intellectual, establishing what God is, right? These commandments are all about our interpersonal relationship with God, I should say. So the first 3 were really, again, defining the reality of God. You have to believe in God. That's the first one. You're not allowed to have any other gods. Say if there's any other power other than God. And you've got to understand God is one. Everything comes from God. Right? God is all encompassing. God, somewhat, I have to tell you, I used to live in Miami before Disney went crazy. Before Disney said, hey, let's teach kids to be weirdo perverts. Let's do that for a bit. And I had an annual pass to Disney. But when it ran out, that was the year we moved back to Israel, right? But we had an annual pass to. Let me tell you, the way of enjoying Disney back then, I wouldn't recommend it now, is you have to immerse yourself in Disney. Stay on the property. Don't stay on a hotel outside the property. Stay on the property and just give yourself over to Disney in every single way, and you will have a fantastic time. Pretty much it's the same with understanding God. We're connected with God. You got to understand you are enveloped in God. You're a part of God, right? So that was the first 3. These just out of the 4th one yesterday. The 4th one is developing a love of God. A love of God, which is good for me because I was feeling a bit miffed. Right? I was feeling a bit miffed at God. So it's a good way to start developing love of God. So the question is, how do you mandate love? How do you mandate emotions? And so that's essentially what we're talking about. And my go-to answer is, it's by the more one focuses on the positive traits, I think the more one loves it. So the first way we had of loving God was looking at nature, right? When you look at the incredible wonder and the intricacy of nature, of how unbelievably complex it is, and beautiful, absolutely beautiful it is, and how beautiful and beautiful it is made for you, right? The example you had of an orange. If you stop and contemplate an orange, it'll blow your mind. It was like how it's made with like a cover, the skin, and it's they just grow naturally. It segments into portions. The cells hold the orange juice, and it tastes delicious, right? God didn't need to make things so pleasant, right? Didn't need to make flowers beautiful and smell beautiful, right? Didn't need to make the world a beautiful, and it is a beautiful place, even though we do screw it up. It is a beautiful place. Louis C.K. has a great, I can't remember what stand-up special it is, has a great routine about God coming back to Earth. And he's like, what the hell did you do? What? How the polar bear's brown? What did you do to the polar bear? Everything was fine. What's all these holes in the ground for? So we can get the oil out. Oil? Why do you bring it? Why do you want to get the oil out of the ground for? So we can go faster. But for what? I go to work. What's work? What do you mean? I go to a call center, and when somebody's game doesn't work, they I mean, like it's a great routine. If you can find it, I recommend it. Anyway, we're dealing with the love of God. Like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Can I also request, if you are Jewish, or I'll be more specific. If your mother was Jewish, right? If your mother was Jewish and you were enjoying this series, please don't watch it on Sabbath. God really doesn't like that, okay? God really super doesn't. If you're not Jewish, let the good times roll, baby, right? And do whatever you want. But I'm just saying, if we're doing a program about connecting with God, don't do what God says. Don't do that. Don't do that. But again. You don't have to be Jewish, mate. Which is the basic point. Fine. Like, share, comment, subscribe, Substack, all those things. But sharing is the thing YouTube likes nowadays. Go figure. Everything changes. Fine. So we're in this book, The 6 Constant Mitzvahs. Go and buy yourself a copy now. And which is, and we're dealing with the love of God, right? So we're looking at different ways one can connect to God. So the next one doesn't really work for me that much. I do it, but it doesn't really work for me that much. Studying the Bible. Now I have a daily intense study program. I do a 2 sides of the Talmud a day, which is a massive codification of Jewish law. They started writing it in basically this thing was supposed to be written down at Mount Sinai. The Israelites were there. God appeared. I am the God of your father. All that stuff, right? And he gave all the laws, especially over the next 40 years. All the laws were given, and it was supposed to be never written down, right? It was supposed to be the explanation of it was supposed to be an oral tradition transmitted from generation to generation, from mother to daughter to father to son, right? So you have a personal connection to it. Problem was, though, around about 2,000 years ago, a bunch of the rabbis who were very conversant in Jewish law were being killed left, right, and center by the Romans. Didn't work out well, so we had to write it down in crib note form. We called that the Mishnah. And then another few hundred years go by, and a whole other bunch of rabbis start getting killed. And then you got to write it down in a more in-depth form, which is the Talmud, which is what I do every day. Do I enjoy it? Not really. No, not really. By the way, if you want to know what it's like, look up on. She's on Instagram, I think TikTok, YouTube, Miriam Anzovin. Miriam Anzovin does Daf Yomi reactions. Daf Yomi is when you do a page a day. She's not religious. She grew up in a religion, but she's not religious. She has a really good take on it, right? And it's like they're like a minute long. They're fun videos. I really, really super recommend them. So yes, studying the Bible is the next way to connect to God, they said. To love God is to contemplate His commandments and His deeds and how we gain understanding of them. I mean, it is true. I do like if I'm studying like stuff that turns me on, like when I'm getting into like the mechanics of reality. That stuff really blows my mind. I love learning about that sort of stuff. Kabbalah, basically. So complete these understanding them according to our ability to take extreme pleasure in that understanding. Right. So this is the first love that is required of us. Okay. Where's this from? So the book, a book called the Sifri, which is a commentary on the Bible, when it comments on the verse Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 5. If it would only have said you shall love God, right, instead of with all your heart, all your might, all your resources, I would have only come to love God. Therefore, the Bible continues to say, and these matters that I command you, they shall be upon your heart. Right, put them upon your heart. You're going to love God, and you need to keep working them through your heart. Right. This is if you delve into Bible study. Love of God will most definitely fill your heart. You got to find the right bit, okay? You got to find the right bit. Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh is when you suffer for a higher cause. In commenting on the verse in which God pleasures to show kindness to those who love Him, Ramban, not Rambam. This is Nachmanides and Maimonides quotes this. Apocrypha, Midrash. I think Apocrypha is the best way of explaining it. Those who love me, that refers to the Jews that are living in Israel, right? And sacrifice their life for the sake of the observe the commandments. Many of the commandments you can only observe if you're Jewish living in Israel in the Old Testament. Most of it is agricultural, right? It goes on to record hypothetical conversations between the Jews and God, right? Why are you being executed? Because was it a conversation between the Jews who sacrificed for God, right? Fine. So something being sacrificed for the sake of loving God. So this is a hypothetical conversation. So why are you being executed? Because I circumcised my son. That's what God said. Why are you being burned at stake? Because I learned the Bible. This is a bit of a downer. Why are you being hanged? Because I ate matzah, the crackers that we eat on Passover. Why are you being whipped? Because I shook this palm branch on the holiday of Sukkot. Okay, fine. So according to we didn't reach a conclusion. That's weird. According to the Ramban, our love of God intensifies when we suffer for Him. That is true, actually, right? Because you're doubling down in your heart, like saying, "I'm going to do this for God, right? I'm going to do this for God." And it makes you, because you have to push yourself, and the more you push yourself, the more you love God. This is a bit of a bummer way of connecting of loving God, I have to say, because the physical sacrifice for His sake makes us aware of His deep burning. Makes us aware of a deep burning love for Him that already exists in our subconscious mind. Yeah, I just focus on the misery. Quite frankly, maybe that's the message they're trying to give me. Don't focus on the misery. Yogurt on your glasses is the next headline. Well, I'm intrigued. I'm glad they said yogurt. Okay. Our studies of these early rabbis should lead us to deduce that one. Every scientist must love God intensely, for the more you know about nature, the more that you love God. Okay, well, fine. That anyone who studies the Bible loves God, and that love of God should increase in proportion the more they study. Okay, well, I can testify that's not necessarily true. Anyone who suffers for God must love Him. In reality, however, the scientific world is staffed by thousands of avowed atheists. In our times, many scientists have become so enamored with the theory of evolution that which allows people to deny the existence of a higher being. I don't see how evolution really is massively contradictory to the Old Testament. That's all. But if you want to see how they really go very nicely together, I recommend a book called Genesis and the Big Bang by Dr. Gerald Schroeder. Great book. Well, in our times, honestly, he should really do a lecture tour around churches. They would love his stuff. Was it in reality the side by atheists, right? Evolution allows people to deny the existence of God, and they refuse to allow debate around that. In a landmark case, a Texas school board was threatened by university professors that if their students were taught to question the theory of evolution, they may not be accepted into the university. And when I hate to tell you this, Darwinian evolution has been disproved many times over now. They will even truncated evolution, as last I looked, right? Because the fossil record didn't reflect Darwinian evolution. Truncated evolution is much more like the X-Men. You have these massive mutations happening very quickly over a short period of time, which again kind of indicates that the involvement of a higher power. When Dr. Francis S. Collins was nominated the head of the National Institute of Health, many scientists objected to his nomination because he's a avowed believer in God. Well, I mean, look, this book was written about 15 years ago, right? 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember how long. I looked it up many times, but I keep forgetting. We see very, very clearly in the world today the absolute hatred of God and biblical values by atheists, right? We say people like with the abortion thing, attacking churches, encouraged by the president. Oh my God, it's so awful, isn't it? I have to tell you, I think this is the end of days, but why does it have to be so long? Honestly, can we just have a bit of parting of the Red Sea or something? Although I do think if you're in Egypt, right, and a regular Egyptian living through the 10 plagues, what you see out your window will be no different from what we're looking at a window today, right? I think it'd be functionally very, very similar. Just you have to remember they had magic back then, instead of science and technology, they used magic as a force, and so it wasn't really scary when the Nile turned to blood. That was like that somebody could do, right? It was just how are those Israelites doing it, right? And how are they beating us? Fine. So, and when Dr. Francis because he believes in God, it seems in the case of many scientists nowadays, not only does the study of nature fail to bring about love of God, on the contrary, it causes us to deny his existence. Well, we've all seen that, right? While not nearly so striking, the same issue exists with regards to Bible study. Not with me, mate. Totally exists with me. There are people who spend years of their lives in intense Bible study and do not feel the love of God filling their heart, or even really the belief in God. Quite frankly, I have found people will become experts in Jewish law, in biblical law, and have absolutely no connection or belief in God. It's shocking, absolutely shocking, right? And it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. And as far as suffering is concerned, the Holocaust, amongst many other calamities, have struck our nation. Listen, my computer crashing was enough to me question God, let alone the Holocaust. Left millions of Jews without love of God. Now, obviously, these early rabbis are not wrong. See, I can't stand that. Well, because they are. You just went on. You just showed how they are wrong now, right? How do we reconcile the contradiction between their assertion that these methods guarantee to cause love of God and what seems to be reality? The answer to this question can be derived from a legend made famous by the head rabbi of a yeshiva, rabbinic ceremony in Tulsa. A man once visited the Louvre, the art museum in Paris, one of the world's premier art museums. He walked from one painting to the next and began to voice disappointment in the artwork. This is what they call beautiful, he asked, standing next to one old painting. It looks like yogurt, right? He moved to the next one, the next masterpiece, and once again he said, "It looks like yogurt. What's going on? This is not, Then he criticized the third piece of the same description, and the man said next to him, could I have a look at your glasses, please? Blimey, this took a long time for him to get to the yogurt and the glasses. That was the headline a while ago. The critic removed the glasses and he handed them to the fellow, and he held them up to light, and of course, all you could see yogurt. He explained, the lenses of your glasses are covered in yogurt, right? So the Rishonim, these early rabbis' methods for building love of God are indeed foolproof. But I think we met some fools that have proved that wrong. Foolproof. As long as the practitioner wants to build a love of God. Finally gets to a point that I can agree with. Yes, okay. As long as these methods will work if that's your desire. If your goal is to develop a love of God, that's what these methods will help you do. Finally, I'm so glad I didn't have to disagree with him. If somebody studies nature, studies the Bible, studies God, and does not feel his heart brimming with love of God, he must be tainted, right? His vision must be obstructed by yogurt. There must be some issue that causes him to avoid God. And I think I've seen this more often than not, right? More often than not, learned people will be learning to avoid having a connection with God. I don't. People, again, it's not easy being Jewish. It's not like something that doesn't take up a lot of time. You got to go to synagogue 3 times a day. There's a kosher laws, a gazillion. I mean, listen, you've seen these videos. You see how like a gazillion million things there are, and they'll do all of that and miss the point completely. Yeah. That's really common. That is really common. His vision must be obstructed by yogurt. There must be some issue causing him to avoid God. In order to feel love, one must want to feel it and feel it, not seek to avoid it. It's true. Fine. So on April 12th, 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first person to travel in space. Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviet premier, reported that Gagarin proved that there was no God because he didn't see him when he got to Earth. Really? Man, that's a lot of trouble to go to substantiate your lack of belief in God. Well, utter fortitude of Khrushchev's statement is astounding. Okay, whatever. I wish this guy was looking around the world today, right? I mean, that seems nothing compared to what's going on today. We know that God is not physical and cannot be seen, but even if Khrushchev was expecting Gagarin to come as some physical manifestation of God in space, the lack of such a vision proved nothing. Vostok capsule was propelled him into space, barely cleared the gravitational pull of Earth, and orbited only several times before coming back to Earth. Even with Khrushchev's shallow understanding of what God should be, Gagarin would have missed him because he was beyond the capsule's attitude. He was beyond the capsule's attitude. I have no idea what it is. Because God is altitude, not attitude, altitude. I missed out the L, right? I can miss out the L. Now I've lost the place. Oh, 1 second. How about okay? I'm just going to go back and forth. The Vostok capsule was propelled him into the better gravitational pull, orbited several times, coming back to Earth. Must have missed him because of altitude. I found my spot. Okay, 20 minutes later. It is obvious that the statement was made with little forethought by a person whose personal view was clouded with their own judgment. Well, yeah, listen, everyone's looking for confirmation bias. In contrast, several years later, American astronaut on the Apollo 8 missions were the first to broadcast pictures of Earth taken from space. The national media, towards the end of the mission, the 3 crew members recited the verses of Genesis relating to story creation. Oh man, that's wonderful. Okay, that warms my heart. It really. I'm not even joking. I'm feeling my heart warming up as I'm hearing that. I'm like, that's just wonderful. In July 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the moon. In a broadcast that was shown nationwide, by the way, if you've never watched Doctor Who, can I really recommend, really strongly recommend, what was it, in the season of the revived one, Matt Smith's second season, there's opening 2 stories, all revolved around the telecast of the moon. It was really clever. A great episode. Day of the Moon, I think. Day of the Moon. Became the first human set foot on the broadcast. In the broadcast shown nationwide the night before they landed, Aldrin said, personally, in reflecting on events of these past several days, a verse from Psalms comes to mind. When I consider the heavens and the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man thou art mindful of him? I think he saw himself. He saw the incredible hugeness of creation that people generally speaking have seen, which I can't remember. Was this video or last video? I recorded them back to back. But we're talking about like what's it like in space, right? Because it's breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. But another great movie that I would really recommend is Sandra Bullock movie. You know what? I should really think this through before I say Sandra Bullock movie where she's an astronaut trying to get back to Earth from space. Gravity, freaking awesome. Again, that's something that will. Watching that, right, as somebody who believes in God, right, you see it was such a genuine, realistic story because you see the struggle that God puts people through, puts people on, and watching in the context of that, I found that movie absolutely beautiful, right, really good. So in comes to the reaction of the Russian cosmonaut and the American astronaut's big explanation. Does the experience of traveling into outer space or the study of nature cause a person to become a greater believer in God, or does it make one doubt? The answer is it depends on the person's prior mindset. Someone who enters space with the intention of proving their atheistic belief that is likely to emerge with an asinine observation made of Khrushchev. And again, the confirmation bias we see over and over and over again in the world today by the people who, generally speaking, hate God in every way, shape, and form. The key to growth through nature, the key to growth through nature, and all the other methods mentioned by these early rabbis is impartiality. If we find ourselves unaffected by the study of nature, or Bible study, or the intricacies of the Bible study, or suffering, we must have yogurt on our glasses. There must be some agenda that's preventing us from viewing the evidence impartially. What is that agenda, right? And that's what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow. But yeah, I would say that it's a good indication to one's own self, right? A good indication to one's own self that you do these things that's supposed to connect you to God in a really deep, primal way, right? You do them, and they don't work. They don't connect you to God in a really deep, primal way. It's a good reason to introspect about what your blocks are, right? What your blocks are. So join me tomorrow as we delve in deeper into the intricacies of loving God. And again, I'm really, really glad I'm doing this right now. It's really given me a major boost. As you know, so I would really recommend. There's also a recommendation from the rabbi that made me religious, Rabbi Noach Weinberg. He made a lot of people religious. But, you know, he was really big into teaching, right? The minute you learn something, teach it over to somebody else, because that's the only way to get it into your bones, right? Get it in part of you, bring it into your mind, and it's really genuinely helping you. I recommend you do the same, right? I recommend you do the same. It will only make your life, will it only make your life better and happier? I hope it will. I will ultimately make your life better and happier. Join me tomorrow. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.